Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Okay, in today's video, I'll be discussing a report from June 2nd in Post Korea, our national daily newspaper. This report was done by Post Korea's journalist Jeffrey Ilapa. Its title reads NIO report reveals 300 million kina given to government MPs for 2022 election. Okay, so for those of you who don't know what stands for National Intelligence Organization. So according to this report, about 300 million kina was allocated for the 2022 elections. It has been allegedly divert, diverted to fund government ministers without control. However, the previous day, Prime Minister James Marape responded saying he was not privy to the report. He was not aware. So, according to this report, the 300 million kina is from a total of 650 million kina allocated for the national elections 2022 last year. It was allocated through the 2022 national budget for the elections. So, there's a 11-page Prime Minister's special brief from the PNG National Intelligence Organization. It's dated on Monday, 28th of November 2022. So in this report by the uh, National Intelligence Organization, a total of 650 million kina was allocated through the budgetary allocation in the 2022 national budget, sorry, but only 350 million of the funding was released, leaving out another 300 missing. Um, while unconfirmed reports received by NIO alleged that the remainder of 300 million kina was believed to have been diverted to fund politicians during the election period. Prime Minister James Marape said he did not preview the report on the alleged diversion of funds. So, according to an article published by PNG Bulletin on June 3rd, Prime Minister James Marape has challenged Post Korea to provide proof that 300 million kina that was allocated was diverted to fund government ministers without control. He said this in response to this uh, Post Korea article. Uh, so, if the Post Korea had done a proper investigation instead of cheap gutter journalism, by simply going to the 2022 final budget outcome, it would have seen a full breakdown of the 695.8 million kina of the 2022 national election spending by agencies. So, Marape then further states, I attach a copy of page 32 of for the benefit of the people to whom the Post Korea continues to lie to in the guise of investigative journalism. Unlike previous year's elections, the 2022 national general election was coordinated through a committee called the Interdepartmental Election Committee. This committee was chaired by the Secretary for Department of PMNEC, Ivan Pomaliu. The committee comprised of all departmental heads of agencies participating in the 2022 general elections, including departments of finance and treasury. Compared to the cost of running 2017 elections, the cost of 2022 increased significantly by 88.8%, from 368.5 million to 695.8 million. This money was divided among all agencies involved in the 2022 elections. So, Marape goes on to say, I am quite surprised that the Post Courier has the audacity to again peddle such lies against my government, claiming that 300 million kina was diverted to fund government ministers without control. Their reporter Jeffrey Elapa asked me after I arrived from Korea on Thursday if I had seen the National Intelligence Organization report, to which I said no. However, the next day, the newspaper proclaimed to be Papua New Guinea to Papua New Guinea and the world that there was 300 million kina corruption by ministers in my government. So yeah, that's what Marape is saying about this allegation by NIO. So yeah, if you're all very curious, go log on to the uh, Department of Treasury's website and check out their final budget outcome for 2022. So there are some points that they outline in the report, which I shall just go over. So they stay in the introduction that 2022 was an election year and the government invested 695.8 million kina to support the election. And obviously, the election went terribly. Uh, Everything went wrong, especially up in the highlands. And we are now awaiting the findings of the parliamentary committee that they're still examining it. So they're going to we wait for what they have found. However, in terms of the funding, this was the best funded election according to this final budget outcome report, the best funded election in PNG's history. Indeed, compared to the 2017 general elections, the government increased the funding by 88.8%. Okay, so they go on to say what was said previously. Initially, the government appropriated 600 million or put 600 million kina for the budget of the elections. However, the budget was further revised upwards by 95.8 million kina. So now the new total and the final total was 695.8 million with an additional 95.8 million. So the breakdown is that 63 million was provisioned for police for air hire and post-election operations. 29.8 million was provisioned for defense for post-election call-out operations, and 3 million was provisioned for CIS for unbudgeted allowances and accommodation. The increase primarily represents post-election security expenses that were not captured in the initial budget, so they came after the election. There were unforeseen expenses that were accumulated. Unlike previous elections, it was the election was coordinated through a committee called Interdepartmental Election Committee, and they were uh, tasked with running this. So yeah, what do you all think? Was it a successfully funded election, or was it unsuccessful? So there you have it, folks. We have reached the end of our video. Um, what do you all think about Post Korea's report? Uh, were they making sensational allegations uh, regarding the National Intelligence Organization report, or is it true? Which begs the question: when is this report going to come out? We are all interested to see if it's true, and where did this 300 million kina go according to this report. And if this report is true, then this is another major corruption case in PNG. And I'd like to see how the members of parliament answer this. If this report is not true and Post Korea's journalists are just making allegations, well, that's between PM Marape and this news agency. Otherwise, let me all know what you all think about this. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share your thoughts, and share this video so people can stay informed. Thank you all. Stay vigilant, and be open minded, observe, and read up on current happenings around you. And take care, everyone.